Vegas Golden Knights versus Carolina Hurricanes. That is your 2026 Stanley Cup Final matchup. And there are two outcomes. If Vegas wins,
Strange.
or if Carolina wins.
We could have been somebody.
My hatred for Vegas began all the way back in the 2023 Stanley Cup playoffs, right? When Alex Pietrangelo slashed Leon Draisaitl's hand. And since then, they have only been more infuriating. As an Oilers fan, you know, they haven't let us talk to Bruce Cassidy, which is fuck you. And it's just the way how they run things, basically their entire existence, all right? The moment that they don't see any use in a player, they let them go. It doesn't matter what they did, you gotta go. Same thing with coaches, same thing with basically everything in the organization. But that's also why they're in the Stanley Cup Final. And that is very, very infuriating because they have had more success in their 9 years of existence than most NHL franchises, than 90% of NHL franchises. Tell that to the Canucks, tell that to the Sabres. Like, what the fuck, man? So that's why I'm cheering against them. But this video isn't about the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't want to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights, all right? I think enough people are talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes because Carolina is like the opposite of Vegas. Carolina is a very, very, very well-ran organization. They're one of those teams that have been a contender for the past, 7 seasons now, yet they always seem to can't get over the hump. But this year, they finally have. They've made the Stanley Cup Final, and I'm cheering for them. I really am. Even though this is their first Stanley Cup Final run, I do believe that this has to be the year that they do it, which is crazy to say considering the fact that they are not an old team, all right? Logan Stankoven, Jackson Blake, Seth Jarvis, they are all in their prime. Alexander Nikishin, but so is every other team in the East. The Montreal Canadiens, the Buffalo Sabres. Yes, the Canes might have dog-walked the Habs, but remember, the Habs are still a young team. This is an unexpected run for the Habs. They are going to be even better next year, all right? And so are the Sabres. And then you bring in guys like Florida, like Tampa. They're not going to go away. I don't believe that this is Tampa's final years as contenders. I do believe that Tampa is still going to try to be just as aggressive and going to keep going for that cup as long as they have Kucherov on his deal, as long as they have Vasilevsky and all those guys. Imagine Florida gets healthy next year as well as just a better starting goaltender. Maybe they're done with Bobrovsky and then boom, 10 million cap space gone. They get another starting goaltender, right? This has to be the year for the Carolina Hurricanes. Yes, Carolina is a young team, but you have to remember that not all of their players are young. Sebastian Aho, same job class as McDavid, I think he's going to turn 30 soon. Jake Slavin is going to be in his mid-30s soon. Freddie Anderson is like 34, 36 years old. They're depth guys who, even then, are still very valuable. Taylor Hall, Shane Gostisbehere, they're also in their 30s, right? Carolina has a perfect mix of youth as well as vets, which is why they're here in the first place. And Vegas is a very tough team, yes, but we've seen how good Carolina is as well. And I do think that Carolina has to get it done this year if they want to, you know, get a Stanley Cup. I also think a Stanley Cup ring would just be very, very beneficial for his entire organization. Carolina doesn't get mentioned that much. You know, there's not that much attention that's brought towards the Carolina Hurricanes, even though they have been such a good team for the past 7 seasons, for this past 8, this whole decade, basically. It's just because of the way they play, you know, you can blame it all on that, but guys like Sebastian Aho, guys like, even still, Jaccob Slavin, who I do think is overrated now, but now, even for most of his career, he's been very underrated. Seth Jarvis, you know, Andrei Svechnikov, I think they're all very underrated. The Hurricanes being able to win a Stanley Cup this year would also just be such a massive mental load just taken off. All right. And after that, they're just going to keep going at it. They know that they can do it. They know that they don't need that elite superstar talent that most Stanley Cup winning teams seem to have. Or maybe, in fact, people start to realize that maybe, hey, someone like Sebastian Aho, someone like Jaccob Slavin is good enough to bring you guys a Stanley Cup. You don't need that Mikko Rantanen. You don't need that superstar, right? They've got all these young pieces who are all on amazing contracts, and they're just gonna keep going at it, all right? They know that they can do it. Maybe the Carolina Hurricanes finally can get the credit that they deserve. Lots of people still write them off, even though they are the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup Final right now, I believe. Just in the general consensus, they underrate them very, very much. And that's not fair to them because they're a good team. And it would just be great, you know. It would just be great for Vegas not to win a cup, actually. That's the whole reason. I'm a neutral fan. I'm literally a neutral fan, but I hate Vegas with a passion. So yeah. That's it for the video, right? I just wanted to talk about it because I do think that the Hurricanes are a good team. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.